Hello, are you in there? Well, I'm glad I found you, finally. I guess you're still upset about that whole mess, aren't you? I mean, I don't blame you, the things I said to you. I was being just awful. I can't tell you how sorry I am for hurting you like that. I got really scared for a bit, you know. When I found out your room at the inn had been cleared out, I had no idea what happened to you. I've been going from inn to inn, but you weren't in any of them. I thought that maybe you had left town. It was sheer luck that I overheard someone talking about how they were renting a room to a historian while I was out on my patrol. If not for that, I'm not sure if I ever would have seen you again. I suppose I still haven't seen you yet. Could you open the door? I have so much I need to talk to you about. Okay, but I hope you're listening in there. I have to make things right. I don't know if you'll take me back, but I at least need to explain things to you. The evaluation. I dropped out. Yes. I'm positive that I wouldn't have made the cut anyway. I suppose I told you as much before, but now I realise that I actually had something to lose by obsessively trying against all odds to stay in the running. You. I think I might have told you before, but I've had problems in the past with becoming single-minded about things. I get a goal in mind, something almost impossible to achieve, and then I abandon everything else to try and reach it. I thought I had moved past that kind of thinking, but I guess I hadn't quite gotten it out of my system. I just wish I had realised what I was doing before I hurt you like that. I mean, what was I thinking? Blaming you for encouraging me to pursue a childhood dream? I'm happy that I gave it a shot, I really am. My only regret is not being able to let it go when I realised it wasn't meant to be. Honestly, it makes sense now that I'm thinking more about it clearly. Most knights know that they're going to become one from a young age. They train every day for years before they achieve knighthood. Some of the more promising candidates had similar backgrounds, coming from warrior families. I was just the child of a woodcutter. I do have a certain amount of talent for combat. It's how I got into the city guard. But I just don't have the experience to compete. That, plus the fact that I had spent so much time learning about noble etiquette to be competent, meant I couldn't truly compete. No, it's all right. I realised that I actually did remarkably well for someone with my background. In another life, I might have made a spectacular knight. But it's not the life I was given. I think I'm finally at peace with that. I'm so sorry that I let myself get caught up in this. You deserved my full attention. I was neglecting you, and you just wanted to spend some time with me because you missed me. You were lonely and worried about my health. You didn't do a single thing wrong. In fact, you've made me happier than I've ever been. I've had some rough times recently, of course, but all that was because of my own mindset. Every good thing that's happened to me lately has been thanks to you. I don't know where I'd be without you. I don't know if I'd say that the change of heart was all that sudden. A lot of what I'm saying I knew all along, I just forgot in the heat of the moment. Plus, I've been doing a lot of thinking ever since the argument. It's sort of like they say, you don't realise what you have until you've lost it. I knew that you've been really supportive of me, but I didn't realise just how much I've come to rely on you until now. But the biggest reason I think I've changed is because of your letter. Yes, you gave it to me right before, well, before I drove you away. Did you forget? Well, I don't blame you for not wanting to think about it. Anyway, it really made me realize some things. This part here, especially. My dear sweet guardian, my knight in shining armour. You helped me find my way when we first met, and you haven't stopped since. My life made a turn for the better when you came into it. Without you, things would have been much the same as before. I would have been lonely, sombre and stagnant. You shook things up and brought me into the light. You've made all the difference for me. Don't be embarrassed. They're beautiful words. I can see why you decided to write me a letter now. You were really able to express your thoughts well this way. Reading that passage made me realize what I hadn't before, that my dream had already come true. I told you early on that the reason I wanted to be a knight was so that I could matter to people. I wanted to make a difference, to be important. When I was a child, I thought that being a knight was the best way to do that. But I should have known better by now that there's more than one way to matter. The reason I've been so happy with you is because I finally mattered to someone. Making you happy and seeing you smile is the most fulfilling thing I've ever experienced. Unfortunately, I never really stopped for a moment and considered that. I never thought about the reason I'd wanted to be a knight and whether I already had that. It's funny, I hadn't really thought about this in years, but during all of this, I remembered the incident that made me want to be a knight in the first place. The incident that made me feel utterly helpless. The local kids in my home village would gather together and play almost every day. In particular, there was one group who'd convinced everyone else that they were in charge. Not surprisingly, they were bullies. They decided which of the children were accepted into the group and which ones were outcasts. I never liked them much, but I managed to stay on the fringes of the in-group. There were a few children who got teased quite a bit, but there was one in particular who stood out. She wasn't fully human, you see. She had an elvish ancestor somewhere down the line. Honestly, she looked almost entirely human to the average observer, just some slightly pointed ears, and she was smaller and thinner than the others. But she'd made the mistake of sharing her lineage, and so the bullies said she was some sort of freak. Most of the children called her Knife Ear, or would tell her she should be living in a tree, not in the village. Even I made a jab at her once. I felt terrible about it after, and never teased her again, but I didn't protect her from the others either. I didn't want to get bullied with her. One day, the bullies told her that they'd give her a chance to earn her place by showing us her bravery. There was an old ruin near the village we were told never to visit. They told her to go bring something back, and they would let her join the group. I'm certain it was a lie, of course, but we never found out for sure. She was attacked by wolves. I was one of the only ones to see her alive after the attack. She was bloody and sobbing, but she just said I couldn't bring anything back. She succumbed to her wounds a couple of hours later. That's what started it for me. In my mind, if I had been brave and strong, I could have stopped the bullies or fought off the wolves. I didn't realize that there was another way I could have saved her, by making her feel happy and welcome. If I had just been her friend, she wouldn't have been so desperate for acceptance. That's how I truly could have mattered. You taught me that being important in someone's life is better than being a flashy hero. I'm sorry it took me so long to realize it. I'm sorry I hurt you, but I promise if you can forgive me, I'll never forget it. I'll always give my all to you. It's the least I can do to repay you for helping me understand this. Yes, yes, I swear it. I love you. I'll never hurt you again. I'll never cast you aside for some pointless dream, because now I realize you are my dream. Thank you. I'll make sure you never regret giving me another chance. Thank you for helping me to matter